Okay, good morning, friends. How's everybody doing? We're continuing in Siman Kuf Mem Gimel. We're in the Ramah in Sif Daled. The Ramah's opinion was that if you already read 3 psukim and you could stop there, you stop there and you make a bracha. I mean, the Ramah's opinion is that if you've already been Yotzei Kriyas HaTorah, you can make a bracha, but you can't read further in the Pasal Sefer Torah. We were reading in the end of the Mishnah Berura yesterday that if the minhag is, if you already read the whole Parsha and you didn't say Kaddish, then you don't take out another Sefer Torah and you rely on that the Achroin is mafter. If you said Kaddish, we explained yesterday that after Kaddish you have a chiyuv to read psukim, otherwise it's a bizayon for the Haftarah. However, if you found a mistake in the middle of Shvi, so the opinion, let's read again from the 2 lines from the bottom on Daf Chavav. If you found a mistake in the middle of laying the Shvi, das Hamagin Avram, who, by the way, we learned yesterday, the Magen Avram paskins not like the Mechaber, not like the Ramah, but rather like the Magen Avram, like the Mordechai. You finish to the end of the Seder in this Sefer Torah, and then it counts from after that the Shvi is the mafter, could be the mafter. V'yivarech lachra, you could even make a bracha after it. V'achar kach yafter banavi, v'achar kach yomer kaddish. However, v'harbe achroinim cholkin al zeh, many achroinim argue on this. The sovereign, they hold the ein chiluk bein tos shenimtza b'shvi l'tos shenimtza b'shar akruim. They say the El Yarabba, the Magen Giborim, the Shari Ephraim, the Pischei Sha'arim. Many Achreinim argue on this, and they hold there's no chiluk between a mistake that's found in Shvi and a mistake that's found in the other Kruim. V'lachinim lo'ikara adayin shlosh psukim. If you didn't yet read 3 psukim, goymer kriyasa b'sefer hakosher. You have to complete the kriya in the kosher sefer. V'im v'kvar kara shlosh psukim b'shvi. If you already read 3 psukim in the Shvi, v'adin ba'achroin, you stop right where you are, and you're mevarech. V'yikra la'achar b'sefer Torah kosher makom shepasuk v'hala, and you read for someone else in the kosher Sefer Torah from the place that you stopped. Umashma mimagin gibarim. It's mashma in the magin gibarim dechein yesh linhaig. You should accustom yourself this way. Emloi b'makom shenagu b'zeh k'magin Avram, unless in your place the minhag is like the Magin Avram. V'imnimsa hatos la'achar shekaru shiva. If the mistake is found after you already called up 7 oilim and you read 7 aliyos, ikfar berech ba'achroina. So in other words, you called up 7 people, you already read the last aliyah, you already called up the last person, but v'adayin lo yikaru kol hasidra, you didn't finish the parsha, then everybody says you have to take out another Sefer Torah, l'kol yam tzarich l'hotzi acheres. Shari al-kochel tzrichel hashem kol hasidra, because you have to finish the whole Parsha. V'yikaru b'shniya b'bracha. You'll read with a bracha the second Sefer. V'yichom l'hoisav k'shar shabasas, and you could even be moisef aliyos. Im nimtza ta'as b'sefer Torah b'shas kriyas hamafter b'shabes. If, let's say, you've already finished the Parsha and you found a mistake during the mafter, yigmar kriyasai, finish reading the Parsha. Again, you've already finished reading the Parsha, but now you found the mistake in the mafter. V'lo yivarech achrel, you don't make a bracha after it. You do not make a bracha. Because you don't make a bracha reading further in a Pasal Sefer, but you're not going to take out a new one for the mafter. V'chol zeh le'inyan mafter shel Shabbos. Avo b'haftaras Yom Tov. But if it's the mafter of Yom Tov, where that's an absolute chiyuv, the mafter of Shabbos is not a chiyuv because you've already read the whole parsha. But the mafter of Yom Tov is a chiyuv, or the mafter of the Dalad Parshiyos, or Shal Arba Parshas v'chayotzei, shekriyas hamafter b'sefer shein hu l'choy v'as hayayim v'nimtza b'tos, then yesh l'hoitzi acheres, you need to take out another Sefer Torah, Kamayim Hayatas V'Kriyas Sidra Shel Shabbos, the same as if the mistake was in the middle of the regular Parsha of the week. Okay, so Rama said that if you found a mistake in the Sefer Torah, and you could stop there, you make a bracha, and you're mashlim the minyan with the rest of with the new Sefer. Mashlim ha-minyan v'adin she'achol ha'osef sham, you could even be moisef ha'ayin le'el b'sif katan tezayin. Okay, now we come to a new topic. So the bottom line is, we've completed the topic of if you found a mistake in the Sefer Torah. The bottom line is, we follow the Ramah. And the Ramah is machriya, namely, that if you find a mistake in the Sefer Torah and you've already read 3 psukim, and you could stop there, you make a bracha achroina on the puzzle Sefer Torah. Okay, don't let them convince you that you just stop, drop, and roll and take out a new one. That's for people who don't follow the halacha. Does everyone have to follow the halacha? No, only people whose mothers are Jewish follow the Ramah. Okay, so if your mother is Jewish and you're laning the Sefer Torah and you read 3 psukim and you could stop, you make a bracha achroina on the last. Let's say a guy gets up and he says, I remember in the Alta Haim they did X, Y, and Z. You said, oh shkoyach, you're mamish gavaldik, and you ignore him and you make a bracha on the Sefer Torah. Okay? Then, however, if you've only read 2 psukim, and therefore you can't stop, or you read 3 and you can't stop there, you cannot read weiter an apostle Sefer Torah to be able to make a bracha, then you do not make a bracha, you take out the new one, and you read a minimum of 3 psukim in the new Sefer Torah. Okay, that's the bottom line. So if you want to be the one guy in the shul who knows the halacha, all you need to do is just remember the last 45 seconds of the shiur. Okay?
What about what's likely to happen where he finds a shiloh, it's a mistake in the middle of the aliyah, so then he gets the end of the aliyah so that they can check it out. Right? This happens multiple times.
I mean, if you find something, you try to draw the attention of. By the way, nowadays it's not as common as it once was. Not saying it's impossible, but.
So the Bali Kri are necessarily, in Ksav that they're going to know if it's a mistake or not.
No, they're not. No, right.
So the shiloh has to be asked, but that happens during the aliyah.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, if it's missing a letter or missing a word, yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it's a nipstick, and that can happen.
Yeah. You know what else it could happen? If the Sefer Torah is a little bit old, and usually a Baal Koreh tends to spit all over the Sefer Torah. People don't realize there are little bubbles of spittle when people talk on their Sfarim. The spittle eats away at the ink, and that I've seen parshas that you have letters completely eroded after 1 year or 2 years of laning. So it doesn't happen so much with new Sefer Torah. Old Sefer Torah, the spittle dissolves the ink. Okay, now the Rama continues. Davka shenimtza taz gamar. Okay, this that you take out another Sefer Torah. Davka shenimtza taz gamar has to be an outright mistake. Aval mishum chaserois v'yaseis en lo yitzachers. A missing yud, an extra yud, we don't take out another. Why? She'ein Sefer Torah shalanu meduyakim kol kach shenoimer sha'acheres yayoser kasher. The Rama quotes the Agur and the Piskei Mahari and the Riyaz and the Maril that we are not bekiyan b'chaseres v'yaserois. Also, not ein anu bekiyan, but there's no reason you have to be concerned that the new one won't be any better. The Rama quotes the Agur, the Piskei Mahari, the Riyaz and the Maril pasku ein lahavi sefer dacheres. The Beis Yosef paskins tzarich lo yitzei sefer dacheres. L'chein tzarich l'chalik kach. Now, let's see weiter in the Mishnah. Taz Gamar. What's a Taz Gamar? Kagan shoy chaser ayaser teva ayosachas. Let's say it's missing or it's added a word or a letter. Now it's interesting, by tefillin is more lenient than Sefer Torah, legabe, a missing letter, or, you know that? Tefillin is more lenient, because the Sefer Torah has to be a Sefer Torah shalem. Tefillin are only parshios. That's what the Avnei Nezer says. Anyway, kagon she'chasar yoseh teva oy oisachas. Oy shaya kri b'makam ksiv, oy psucha b'makam stuma, oy lahepach. If it's an outright mistake, you hear this? A psucha b'makam stuma, or vice versa, is an outright mistake. V'chenim kasav psucha oy stuma b'makam shein tzarcha. Or let's say, you wrote a psucha or stuma and it shouldn't be. Oy shechisra, or you didn't. B'chol elu tzarch lo yitzei acheres. All of these are straight out psulim. That was the issue with the Sefer Torah that were written based on the tikkun, which was an erroneous tikkun. Tikkun doesn't mean for balei kriya. Tikkun means for koisvei stam. In other words, if a Sefer Torah does not have a psucha or stuma, or they flip a psucha or stuma, or they make psucha or stuma where it should not be, it's puzzle. Or let's say you have two letters that are too close. To the extent that a child who's not too smart, not too foolish, reads it as one word. Right? If you have two words that are not spread, that don't have the correct distance, and an average child will read as one word, or the word was written in a way where it looks like two words. Oy kidar la oimer pidat sur elitzur aminadav v'chahina shemakov yadin shev achas yim nimtzuk shteit shito tzarch lo yitzei acheres. Let's say these words, where we have a tradition, it's one word. If they're found on two different lines, you have to take out another one. But that's mashma. But if they're on one line, even though they're divided, the Shari Ephraim says it's not possible. That's what the Kesses HaSefer says. Why? Because even though according to the Messiah we write it as one word, but since the Gemara says that this word should be written b'shtei tevois, even though we don't do that al-chachila, we're not going to passel it b'diavad. Ois v'teva shenimcha kuktzas. Letters or words that are a little bit erased. Im rishuma nikar shatini lecham l'yachal l'kroisen ein tzach loitzei acheres. A rubbed out letter that an average kid could still see it is not passel. You don't have to take out another one. Doesn't mean you shouldn't fix it, but you don't have to take another one. What if an ois is nifsak because of a hole? Chazoiner says, yesh lahakel. I don't know if we follow that, because it's relying on the Rambam that mutter liquor b'sefer Torah puzzle. Yeah, but this is working not with that. I don't know if the Mishna would go along with that. Okay. Even lechatchila, if you have, listen to this, that if you have a Sefer Torah that is worn out, but a kid could read it, then it is lechatchila mutter. However, if the black ink has been removed, and now all you have is this reddish tinge, have a shinoi mara pasal. So now it's a change of color and it's pasal. Ken kasav b'der chachayim b'shem el yarava. V'ayim b'mashe kasavnu le'el b'simen lamen beis b'mishnah Berura of katan kuf chavches b'shem hachsam Sefer. Look what we wrote earlier in the name of the chasam Sefer. There we wrote that if it turned red because it's old, it's kosher. Why? That is what happens to ink after time. Maybe it oxidizes. But if it mamish turned to red, or if it only turned to a tinge of red, but it did so immediately, so then it's not because of age, then it's pasal. The Chasam Sefer says that if it turns red after age, you don't take out another one. Nikru atfir shebeni real. What if the stitchings have torn between the columns? Afilu nikra roiv, even if it's mostly torn. V'adayin mechuberes b'chumash ab'sheish tfir shel kayama kosher. even if most of them are torn and it's still attached with 5 or 6 stitches, it's kosher. Aval pachzah, less than that, you should take out another one. Miu mashenimtza nikra bechumash echad min hachumashim b'sefer Torah zu ein lifso shar hachumashim likrois bahem k'may she'yisbar b'seif hagah. However, if it's torn in one of the chumashim, the rest of the Sefer Torah is going to be kosher. This is a very interesting status in halacha. There are certain psulim that only pasal that particular chumash and does not pasal other chumashim. So let's say in Bereshis, the stitches are torn. You only have 4 remaining stitches. You could still lay in the Sefer, in the Shemais or Vayikra. I want to tell you a chiddush that's brought in the Sefer of Pardes Yosef from Rav David Avram Mandelbaum on Parshas Bahaloischa. He brings from the great Goin Rabbi Meir Arik that if in Sefer Ba'amidbar you have stitchings that are torn after Vayhi ben Saya, you could even lay in Ba'amidbar before Vayhi ben Saya, because we paskin halach lemaisa. There's 7 chumashim in the chumash. Chatzva amudeha shiva. That's the chiddush of Rabbi Meir Arik. Okay. During the reading, you find one letter attached to his friend. If it's attached in the whole length, or the image of the letter is changed because it's attached, because of Dav Makam Reish, or let's say there was a mistake in the reading and they read Dalet instead of Reish. But if there's just a minor attachment between 2 letters, and it's not b'chol oirech ha'ois, it's not puzzle, contrary to what most people think. Most putting back Sifrei Torah are because letters are touching, which is a mistake. It's not a problem. It is not a problem if the letters are touching. It's only a problem if the letters are touching along the whole length, or it's nishtana tzuras ha'ois. Furthermore, what if because of moisture or spit, it looks like the letters are touching? It's kosher. No. If nispashtu ha'isias mikayach lachos, if the letters stretch out, but you could see that they're not touching, the dir should bring it. It's okay. But if they are touching, it's not okay. But here in these lines of the Mishnah Berura, it's mashma that davuk is a problem only if it's b'chol oirech ha'ois or nishtan tzuras ha'ois, or you would read a different letter. Now, what if the dibuk is not affecting the main part of the word, only a ancillary part of the word? Could go in vav, a yud, hamishameshes, im ein sham devek ba'oirech ha'ois rak ma'at. Okay, that's going back in the last thing. In other words, even if the connecting letters are of a ancillary part of the word, like a vav, it's still a problem. Next, if there's no attachment in the whole length of the letter, only a little bit, and it doesn't change the main image of the letter, and they're very recognizable, you're now to take it out, as long as you didn't scrape it. But if you did, if you didn't realize, Sefer Torah, then we'll see Be'ezras Hashem next time. Okay, we'll hold it over here, and we'll do something different today, and then I'll tell you the upcoming program.